I'm live. Awesome. All right. I got a new Blue Yeti microphone. I have never streamed anything live, so I just want to kind of know for myself what it sounds like. Therefore, I have it here like 6 inches from my mouth, probably. And I do not have a pop filter in front of it. Um, I've told a cheap thing you can do is just not put the mic at the exit of your mouth, but slightly to the side. And yes, I made sure it's in an angle like that I'm not talking into the top of the microphone like some people are doing on YouTube and you can hardly hear them. But anyway, first thing I'm going to do is mess with the volume button and see what that sounds like. So right now the volume is straight up. So this is what it sounds like straight up. I'm going to turn it, I think. See, it doesn't say minimum and maximum, so I'm gonna, yeah, it's definitely going down. I can hear that. This is with the volume button in the 9 o'clock position. So, yeah, I actually got a book here so I can say random words. I guess. I mean, they're not so random to me, but I really, really enjoyed this book a lot. And I don't know if I'm violating any author's rights by reading a whole book on YouTube, which I don't intend to do here, but I don't want to get in trouble for that. And I'm not sure what the law says regarding that or who I should talk to in case I do want to use somebody else's material. And I don't know, how do I figure out if I'm allowed to or not? Like, how do I find these people and how do I get permission? Huh. So yeah, that's the 9 o'clock position. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna go 10:30 for now. Not make it too complicated. This is more or less the volume control in the back. I read at the 10:30 position. The secrets of the spiritual heart. Very few people understand the heart. In truth, your heart is one of the masterpieces of creation. It is a phenomenal instrument. It has the potential to create vibrations and harmonies that are far beyond the beauty of pianos, strings, or flutes. You can hear an instrument, but you feel your heart. And if you think that you feel an instrument, it's only because it touched your heart. Your heart is an instrument made of extremely subtle energy that few people come to appreciate. In human beings, the heart does its work unattended, even though its behavior governs the course of our lives. It is not understood. If any if at any given point in time the heart happens to open, we fall in love. If at any given point in time it happens to close, the love stops. If the heart happens to hurt, we get angry, and if we stop feeling it altogether, we get empty. All of these different things happen because the heart goes through changes. These energy shifts and variations that take place in the heart run your life. You are so identified with them that you use the words I and me when you refer to what's going on in your heart. But in truth, you are not your heart. You are the experiencer of your heart. Hmm. Sounds awesome, doesn't it? All right, I'm going to turn the volume back to 12 o'clock and read the whole page, and then I'll probably turn it to about the 1:30 position. The headset that I'm wearing, I can actually hear my own voice, so I think I know what's coming into the live stream, but I don't know. I'm hearing it straight from the microphone into my ears. I don't know how the computer is picking it up. That's why I'm kind of doing this test. So going to 12 o'clock. Yeah, that looks about right. All right, next page. The heart is actually very simple to understand. It is an energy center, a chakra. It is one of the most beautiful and powerful energy centers and one that affects our daily lives. As we have seen, an energy center is an area within your being through which your energy focuses, distributes, and flows. This energy flow has been referred to as Shakti, Spirit, and Chi, and it plays an intricate part in your life. You feel the heart's energy all the time. Think about what it is like to feel love in your heart. Think about what it is like to feel inspiration and enthusiasm pour from your heart. Think about what it is like to feel energy well up in your heart, making you confident and strong. All of this happens because the heart is an energy center. All right, I'm going to turn the volume up. However, I'm starting to think this volume right here is ideal. I can hear some high pitched noises like the S sounds and whatnot. It sounds a little louder than I would like to. But then the rest of my voice actually sounds great, to me at least. So, anyway, I'm going to turn it to 130. If it sounds loud for me, I'll probably keep it at 12. And then I'm going to actually move the microphone further away from me to see how far can I move this thing and still pick up a good audio quality. But I can already tell as I move away from the microphone, like right now, I sound like I'm distant. I can hear that. So like I said, this video is just to play with it. So I don't know. Going to 130. Boink, it's about right there. Cool. The heart controls the energy flow by opening and closing. This means that the heart, like a valve, can either allow the flow of energy to pass through, or it can restrict the flow of energy from passing through. If you observe your heart, you know very well what it feels like when it's open and what it feels like when it's closed. In fact, the state of your heart changes quite regularly. Yeah, excuse me. You can be experiencing great feelings of love while in the presence of someone until they say something you don't like. Then your heart closes towards them and you simply don't feel the love anymore. We have all experienced this. But what exactly is causing it? Since we all have to experience the heart, we might as well understand what is going on here. We begin this analysis by asking a fundamental question. What is it about the structure of the heart center that permits it to close? What you will find is that the heart closes because it becomes blocked by stored, unfinished energy patterns from your past. You need only examine your everyday experiences to understand this. As events take place in this world, they come in through your senses and have an impact on your inner state of being. The experience of these events may bring up some fear, some anxiety, or maybe some love. Different experiences happen inside because of how you take in and digest the world as it passes through you. When you take in the world through your senses, it is actually energy that is coming into your being. Form itself does not come into your mind or heart. Form stays outside, but it is processed by your senses into energy patterns that your mind and heart can receive and experience. Science explains this sensory process to us. Your eyes are not really windows through which you look out into the world. Your eyes are cameras that send electronic images of the world into you. This is true of all senses. They sense the world, convert the information, transmit the data through electrical nerve impulses, and then the impressions get rendered in your mind. Your senses are, indeed, electronic sensing devices. But if the energy patterns that are coming into your psyche create disturbance, you will resist them and not allow them to pass through you. When you do this, the energy patterns actually get blocked within you. All right. I think the microphone pointing to the 12 o'clock position so far has sounded the best, so I am going to put it back there, but now I'm going to play with the distance of the microphone from my mouth. Again, first time using this mic or any mic to begin with. So far, I've used the microphone from the laptop, which was could definitely, room for improvement. But Huh. Yeah, I forgot. This microphone also has different settings for like mono sound, stereo sound, and the microphone picking up sound from the back and the front side. Like right now, I'm pretty sure it is set to pick up only my voice from this side, where my mouth is basically. Anyway, I'm gonna put it a little bit straighter because, like I said, I'm gonna move it further and further from my mouth to see what the audio quality does. So I do think I'm still speaking towards it with the volume at straight up 12 o'clock. So, gotta love this book. This is very important. To better understand what it's like to have these energies stored within you, let's first examine what it would be like if nothing was stored. What if everything just passed through you? For example, when you're driving down a highway, you've probably passed thousands of trees. They don't leave impressions on you. They're gone as soon as they're perceived. While you're driving, you see trees, you see buildings, you see cars, and none of these make lasting impressions on you. There's just a momentary impression that allows you to see them, though they do come in through the senses and make impressions upon your mind. As quickly as the impressions are made, they are released. When you have no personal issues with them, impressions process freely. Boom. Love that. That is so true. And that is what you got to learn to do with people also. See them as trees, like just interact with them. And when you're done interacting, let it go as if it never happened. Sounds rude, but is it really? No, because the more you cling on to things, the more you make your life more complicated. That's the way I see it. So I just let go of everything as soon as the whatever scene you find yourself in, as soon as the scene is over, walk away and carry on with your day, whatever you were doing, before that scene happened, go back to it. Whether you were doing your hobby or reading a book or I don't know, anything, making dinner, get back to it and live like as if whatever bothered you never even happened. Anyway, moving the microphone right now. So, wow. Oh, man. This sounds so much more spacey already. I don't like that. I really like that microphone, like right up to my face. Okay, I'm gonna try it anyway. Like I said, like I can hear myself in the headset, but I want to know what it sounds like on YouTube. Like tomorrow, I'll listen to it while I'm at work or something. I don't know. I just want to hear all the audio angles and blah blah blah. So, this is how the overall system of excuse me. Let me start over. This is how the overall system of perception is meant to work. It's meant to take things in, allow you to experience them, and then let them pass through you so that you're fully present in the next moment. While this system is in a working, operative state, you are fine and it is fine. You're simply having experience after experience. Driving is an experience, trees passing by are an experience, and cars passing by are an experience. These experiences are gifts that are being given to you. Like a great movie, they are passing into you, awakening and stimulating you. They are actually having a profound effect on you. Moment after moment, experiences are coming in and you're learning and growing. Your heart and mind are expanding and you are being touched at a very deep level. If experience is the best teacher, there is nothing that comes close to the experience of life. What it means to live life is to experience the moment that is passing through you, and then experience the next moment, and then the next. Many different experiences will come in and pass through you. It's a phenomenal system when it's working properly. If you could live in that state, you would be fully aware. That is how an awakened being lives in the now. That reminds me of Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. He speaks a lot about living in the now, living in the present. That is one of the most amazing things that I learned to do too. Like it's Anxiety and depression are both a symptom of what we're talking about here. Anxiety and depression are literally in your head. What do I mean by that? I mean, anxiety is basically looking forward in time, depression is looking back in time. Some examples, I don't know, the bill is due at the end of the month. That's anxiety because that's not now, that is coming up in, I don't know, a week, 10 days. So that would cause you anxiety, or you're going to have a sit down with your boss because something happened and it needs to be discussed. Again, anxiety. We're not talking to the boss now, no, but we're nervous about when we're going to have to. That's anxiety. And it's all coming from the same place, from your own head. Like right now, I'm sitting in front of my laptop talking to myself essentially. Why should I be worried about my boss wanting to talk about me or my performance tomorrow or, at the end of the week? It's almost irrelevant. Yeah, sure, that's an annoying thing to think about, and that's the whole key thing here to learn, to stop thinking. Just live in the moment, live now. Like right now, all I see here is behind my computer screen a couple of plants, in front of me the computer, on my left a microphone, in my hands a book. That's all I'm thinking about right now. As a matter of fact, I don't have to think about it. I can just, it's like we just talked about in this early part of the chapter. I am just taking in what is around me, and everything else is irrelevant. And then depression, it's the same thing, but in the past. Like maybe a parent, excuse me, a parent died, or your pet died, or you had an accident not long ago. Something that happened in the past, and you are still dwelling on it. Oh, I could have said things before they died, or oh, I wish I would have turned left instead of turned right, and there would have not been an accident. That is where depression lives. Really, it lives in your head. So I always tell people, is there something to worry about right now? And if they're flat out saying yes, absolutely, you need to hear this, I will just sit down and listen to you vent. But if somebody asks me, is there a problem right now? I'll just look left, right, up, down. Like, no, everything's great, man. Like, I love life because I have nothing on my mind all day. Like, nothing. And if I do have something on my mind, it has to be. See, I built in the beginning when I learned how to live like this, I did build some form of a rule set for myself. Like, okay, if I want to live in the now, there are some things I still need to think about. So I built some rule sets, and I think I want to make a video about that because I think there's a lot of people, they want to live in the now, like they want to have a zen state of mind or peace of mind, a quiet mind, a meditative mind, like whatever you want to call it. It's basically a peaceful mind all day and all night, so you're always in a relaxed state. No stress, no anxiety, no nothing. You're just being yourself, and hopefully that's a happy person. But what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to worry so much about the rules, if you will, of okay, what am I allowed to think? Like, am I allowed to think about my homework? Or see, it's really all not necessary. The things you need to do in life, do you really have to think about them, or could you just, like behind me is a wall where I just write things down so I don't forget them later, which is essentially something that I did years ago. In my head, I'm thinking, well, I don't need to think about anything. So it's going to be likely that I also forget things, which, eh, I'm 38. Maybe I'm just getting older and I forget things, period. But I just made a habit of writing important things down. Like when a bill is due and I know I don't have that money yet, I will just write on the calendar, hey, pay that bill on this date. So little things like that I will write on the wall. But like a conversation with the boss coming up next week, and I'm just making something up. Of course, I'm not in any situation with my boss at work. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to point out anxiety can come from an unlimited amount of angles, and I'm just picking one that a lot of people can probably relate to. But yeah. So I'm gonna move the mic away a little more. I think this is right now. It has been at about a foot away from me. So I'm gonna do about a foot and a half, and I think that's about as far as I'm gonna put this mic because I can already tell it sounds like I'm in a room with solid surfaces, which I actually am. The ceiling, I mean, there is no wall on my left and right within at least 10, 12 feet. Like the kitchen is to my left and there's a fireplace on my far right. Wow. Just by looking away from the microphone, my voice is almost half gone. That's pretty spooky. I don't know. It's technology, I guess, right? We got to get used to it. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna do a whole arm length. Boom. That's a pretty. This is exactly at the end of my fingertips, pushed as far as I can have it. So I'm gonna just finish reading that page that I was on. I may or may not have flipped a couple pages. No, I don't think I have. But that's not what happens inside most of us. Instead, it's more like you're driving down the street. Here come the trees, here come the cars, and it's all passing right through you with no trouble. Then, inevitably, something comes in that doesn't make it through. There was this one car, a light blue Ford Mustang, that looked like your girlfriend's car. But as it passed by, you noticed two people hugging in the front seat. At least it looked like they were hugging, and it sure looked like your girlfriend's car. But it was a car just like all other cars, wasn't it? No, it wasn't just like all other cars to you. Let's just carefully look at what happened. Surely, for the camera of the eyes, there is no difference between that car and the others. There's light bouncing off of objects, passing through your retina and making a visual impression on your mind. So at the physical level, nothing different is going on. But at the mental level, the impression didn't make it through. When the next moment comes, you no longer notice the rest of the trees. You're not seeing the rest of the cars. Your heart and mind are fixated on that one car, even though it's gone. You've got yourself a problem here. There is a blockage, an event that got stuck. All these subsequent experiences are trying to pass through you, but something has happened inside that has left this past experience unfinished. Ah, I love that. What happens to that experience that didn't make it through? Specifically, what happens to the image of the girlfriend's car if it doesn't just fade away into deep memory like everything else? At some point, you'll have to stop focusing on it in order to deal with something else, like the next stoplight. Yeah. What you don't realize is that your entire experience of life is about to change because of what didn't make it through you. Life must now compete with this blocked event for your attention, and the impression does not just sit in there quietly. You will see that your tendency is to think about it constantly. This is all in an attempt to find a way to process it through your mind. You didn't need to process the trees, but you need to process this. Because you resisted, it got stuck, and now you have a problem. You see the thoughts start up. Well, maybe it wasn't her. Of course it wasn't her. How could it possibly have been? Thought after thought goes on inside. It drives you crazy in there. All that inner noise is just your attempt to process the blocked energy and get it out of the way. All right. Sticking my finger in between the pages this time. I'm going to put the microphone back by my face because that is what I like best in my ears. So I will definitely have to invest in like a microphone boom arm, whatever you want to call that. Because, yeah, I can definitely hear myself thumping on the table and flipping pages on the book. Like that noise, that's just the back of the book hitting the table. But I'm really happy with what I'm hearing in my own ears so far, if I may say so myself. Anyway, reading on, I kind of want to finish this chapter. I mean, I've already read this book. I mean, I can tell because I mark stuff in my books that really stands out to me, and I love doing that. That way, if ever 20 years later, I probably won't remember much of this book, but I can just pick it up and just flip through the pages quick, and I'm like, oh yeah, wow, I remember this. Like that's what I do with the good books that I read. Some of them I'll just read the whole way through, and like, not much there to remember for later, but sip of Coke real quick and then I'll continue reading. What time do we got here? 1:13 in the morning. Not bad. Long term, damn, excuse me. That's louder than I intended it to be. Long term, the energy patterns that cannot make it through you are pushed out of the forefront of the mind and held until you are prepared to release them. These patterns, which hold tremendous detail about the event associated with them, are real. They don't just disappear. When you are unable to allow life's events to pass through you, they stay inside and become a problem. These patterns may be held within you for a very long time. It is not easy to keep energy together in one place for long, as you willfully struggle to keep these events from passing through your consciousness. The energy first tries to release by manifesting through the mind. This is why the mind becomes so active. When the energy can't make it through the mind because of conflicts with other thoughts and mental concepts, it then tries to release through the heart. That is what creates an emotional activity. When you resist even that release, the energy gets packed up and forced into deep storage within the heart. In the yogic tradition, that unfinished energy pattern is called samskara. This is a Sanskrit word meaning impression. And in the yoga teachings, it is considered one of the most important influences affecting your life. A samskara is a blockage, an impression from the past. It is an unfinished energy pattern that ends up running your life. In order to understand this, let's first take an in depth look at the physics behind these blocked energy patterns, just like energy waves. The energy that comes into you must keep moving, but that doesn't mean it cannot get blocked within you. There is a way that energy can both keep moving and stay in one place, and that is to circle around itself. We see this in atoms and in planetary orbits. Everything is energy, and energy will just expand outwards if it is not contained. For there to be manifest creation, energy gets wow. For there to be manifest creation, energy must get in the dynamic of cycling around itself to create a stable unit. That is why energy manifesting as an atom forms the basic building block of this entire physical universe. Energy cycles around itself, and as we've discovered, atoms have enough harnessed energy to blow up the world when that energy is released. But unless forced otherwise, the energy will stay harnessed because of its equilibrium state. This process of cycling energy is exactly what happens with a samskara. A samskara is a cycle of stored past energy patterns in a state of relative equilibrium. It is your resistance to experiencing these patterns that causes the energy to keep cycling around itself. There is no other place for it to go. You won't let it. This is how most people process their issues. This packet of cycling energy is literally stored in your energetic heart center. All these samskaras you have collected over your life are stored there. Mhm. To fully appreciate what this means, let's go back to the example of the light blue Mustang that looked like your girlfriend's car. Once the disturbed energy pack Once the disturbed energy patterns are packed and stored in the heart, They are basically inactive. It may look to you like you have handled the situation and that you have no more issues with that experience. You may not even mention the event to your girlfriend because it would look like you were jealous. You didn't know what to do. So you resisted the energy, and it got stored in your heart where it could fall into the background and not be bothersome. While it may seem like it's done, like it is all over and gone, it really isn't. Every one of every one of the samskaras that you've stored is still there. Everything that did not make it through you from the time you were a baby all the way to this moment is still inside of you. It is these impressions, these samskaras, that encrust the value of the spiritual heart. Excuse me, that encrust the valve of the spiritual heart. That encrustation builds up and resists the energy flow. Now that we understand where the blockages within the heart comes from, we have answered the structural question of how the heart gets blocked. You can certainly see the potential for impressions to build up to the point where very little energy can make it through. If they build up sufficiently, you will find yourself in a state of depression. In that state, all becomes dark. This is because very little energy is coming into your heart or mind. Eventually, everything appears negative because the world of the senses must pass through this depressed energy before it gets to your consciousness. But even if you aren't prone to depression, your heart still gets blocked over time. It just builds up. It doesn't always stay blocked, however. Depending on one, excuse me, depending upon life's experiences, it can open and close quite frequently. This leads us to our next question. What is the cause of these frequent changes in the state of the heart? I am putting the microphone back in front of me for a bit. I don't know why, I just felt like doing that. The stored energy patterns are real. A samskara is actually programmed with a specific detail of the event that could not pass through. If you experience jealousy because you thought you saw your girlfriend hugging someone in the car, very detailed data about that event is stored in the samskara. It has that event's vibration, it has that event's nature, and it even retains your level of sensitivity about the event. To see this, let's watch what happens in the future. It is 5 years later, and you're no longer with your old girlfriend. You've married someone else, and you're much more mature. One day, you're out driving along with the family, having a wonderful time. The trees are going by, the cars are going by, and then a light blue Mustang drives by with two people hugging in the front seat. Immediately, something changes in your heart. Your heart actually skips a beat. Then it starts beating faster. You start getting moody, irritated, agitated. You aren't having such a nice day anymore. All of these inner changes occur because your heart got disturbed when you saw one particular car. It is truly amazing to step back and look at this process. 5 years ago, for just a few moments, an event took place. You never discussed it with anybody. And now, 5 years later, a light blue Mustang drives by and it changes the energy flow through your heart and mind. As unbelievable as it seems, it is true. And it's not only true about light blue Mustangs, it is true about everything that didn't make it through you. No wonder we are so overwhelmed. No wonder the heart keeps opening and closing. The energy that is stored there is real, and it interacts with the flow of current with the flow of current thoughts and events. The dynamics of this interaction cause the vibration that are stored as samskaras to get activated. Sometimes years later, this is what happened with the light blue Mustang. Understand, however, that it didn't even have to be the identical car to activate the stored energy. It could have been a black Mustang or any car with people hugging. Anything in the neighborhood has the potential to stimulate a samskara. The point is that past impressions do get stimulated, even old ones, and they affect your life. Sensory inputs from today's event dig through all the stuff you have stored through the years, and they restore the exact past patterns associated with the incoming events. Okay, this I can hear the mic popping a lot more with it when it's right in front of me. So there, I have tilted it a lot down away from me. We'll see what happens. 35 minutes in. Nice. Still a good book. Don't care how long it takes to read it. When a samskara is stimulated, it opens like a flower and begins to release the stored energy. Suddenly, flashes of what you experienced when the original event took place rush into your consciousness. The thoughts, the feelings, sometimes even the smells and other sensory input. The samskara can store a complete snapshot of the event. It is way beyond any computer storage system created by human beings. It can achieve everything you were feeling, everything you were thinking, and everything that was happening surrounding the event. All this information is stored into a tiny energy bubble within your heart. Years later, it gets stimulated, and instantly you are experiencing the feelings you felt in the past. You can actually feel the fears and the insecurity of a 5-year old when you're 60. What is happening is that an unfinished mental and emotional energy pattern are getting stored and reactivated. But it is just as important to realize that most of what you take in does not get blocked. It makes it right through you. Imagine how many things you see all day. They're not all stored like that. Of all these impressions, the only ones that get blocked are those that cause either problems or some extraordinary sense of enjoyment. Yes, you stored positive impressions too. When a wonderful experience happens to you, it doesn't make it through because you cling to it. Cling to it. Clinging means, I don't want this one to go away. He told me he loved me and I felt so loved and protected. I want to keep reliving that moment. Play it back for me over and over again. Clinging create positive sanskaras. And when these are stimulated, they release positive energy. Hence, two kinds of experiences can occur that block the heart. You are either trying to push energies away because they bother you, or you are trying to keep energies close to you because you like them. In both cases, you are not letting them pass, and you are wasting precious energy by blocking the flow through resisting and clinging. The alternative is to enjoy life instead of clinging to it or pushing it away. If you can live like that, each moment will change you. If you are willing to experience the gift of life instead of fighting with it, you will be moved to the depth of your being. When you reach this state, you will begin to see the secrets of the heart. The heart is the place through which energy flows to sustain you. This energy inspires you and raises you. It is the strength that carries you through life. It is the beautiful experience of love that pours through your whole being. This is meant to be going on inside of you all the times. The highest state you have ever experienced is simply the result of how open you were. If you don't close, it can be like that all the time. Don't sell yourself short. This can go on all the time. Unending inspiration, unending love, and unending openness. That is the natural state of a healthy heart. To achieve this state, simply allow the experiences of life to come in and pass through your being. If old energies come back up because you were unable to process them before, let go of them now. It's that easy. When that light blue Mustang drives by and you feel fear or jealousy, just smile. Be happy that this samskara, which has been stored down there for all this time, has the opportunity to make it through you. Just open, relax your heart, forgive, laugh, or do anything you want. Just don't push it back down. Of course, it hurts when it comes up. It was stored with pain. It's going to release with pain. You have to decide if you want to continue to walk around with stored pain blocking your heart and limiting your life. The alternative is to be willing to let it go when it gets stimulated. It only hurts for a minute and then it's over. So you have a choice. Do you want to try to change the world so it doesn't disturb your samskaras? Or are you willing to go through this process of purification? Don't make decisions based on stimulated blockages. Learn to be centered enough to just watch this stuff come up. Once you sit deeply enough inside the Once you sit deeply enough inside to stop fighting the stored energy patterns, they'll come up constantly and pass right through you. They'll come up during the day, and they'll even come up in your dreams. Your heart will become accustomed to the process of letting, excuse me, your heart will become accustomed to the process of releasing and cleansing. Just let it all happen. Get it over with. Don't process them one by one. That's too slow. Stay centered behind them and let go. I do think that the microphone in front of me also sounds actually quite good. It's just a little more popping. I almost wish it wasn't on a stand so I could put it just below my chin maybe so the pops would go over it instead of right into it. But I'm going to put it back on the side one more time. See, yeah, it makes me sound spacey already. Hmm. Don't process them one by one, that is too slow. Stay centered behind them and let go, just like the physical body purges bacteria and other foreign matter. The natural flow of your energy will purge the stored patterns from your heart. Your reward is a permanently open heart. There is no more valve. You live in love, and it feeds you and strengthens you. That is an open heart. That is the instrument of the heart as it was meant to be. Allow yourself to experience every note the heart can play. If you relax and release, this purification of your heart is a wonderful thing. Set your eyes on the highest state you can imagine and then don't take them off. If you slip, just get back up. It doesn't matter. The very fact that you even want to go through this process of freeing the energy flow means you are great. You will get there. Just keep letting go. That was chapter 6 of The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael A. Singer. I wow, it's I this book was so amazing to me. Like I actually bought this book when I was already in this kind of a mind state where I just let everything go around me. And in some cases that was really helpful. In other cases it actually seemed to infuriate the people, not the people, the person that was trying to get me out of my comfortable state. Like they were frustrated about something and they were yelling at it about it to me, I should say. And I stayed relaxed and calm the whole time, which seemed to fuel their fire even more, which was extremely weird to me. But at some point, I just finally came to the conclusion that, yeah, when somebody talks to you that is infuriated and they're expressing themselves, overall, most people, their level of anxiety goes up too. So when they respond to that person, there is also a noticeable vocal change in the person that's responding. And I think if that doesn't happen, the person in a bad mood is actually going to feel in an even more bad mood. I mean, wow, what a sentence, but that's just what I've noticed. And I see that everywhere. Like when somebody cuts you off in traffic and you yell something at them, when they give you a response back, is it usually a very happy, like they enjoyed your nasty comment, whatever it was that you yelled at them? Did they give you some friendly remark back? Well, no, they usually yell something back that's equally aggravated in tone. So that's what I'm trying to say. But yep, that was my microphone test. 45 minutes, beautiful. I love it. What time is it? It is 1:33 in the morning. I'm gonna have to work on the lighting because I don't like this grayscale look of my screen. Heh, my antique telephone. Awesome. Okay. Wow. I never read books out loud, so this is. I'm already noticing my throat feels a little sore. Not, it's not a pain yet, but I think if I would do this for 2 hours straight, I would definitely be struggling with my throat the next day, I think. But that's something to worry about for later. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to listen to this video myself, and then I'm going to see what the audio quality is. Boom, there, I've said it. All right, guys, have a good night, and hopefully I will see you all again. I moved that mic, and it's like an instant change in the audio. It's just cool, awesome. I'm just going to have to pay attention to keeping that microphone very close to me. Cool. Have a good night, guys. Yeah. Sounds like it. Am I hearing the train in the microphone? No way.